promise on getting you guys more nutrition content. You guys voted, and now we're here, right? And that's okay with me. And I'm actually grateful that you guys would like to see more content on nutrition, because let's be honest, nutrition is one of the most complex, um, what should I say, subject when it comes to fitness and nutrition, right? A lot of times we don't know how to eat for the goal that we are trying to achieve, whether that's weight loss, whether that's body recomposition, whether that's lean muscle gain, whether that's just to feel overall healthy. The big question is always around nutrition. We all know that we can go and exercise, walk, do some cardiovascular work, we can go lift some weights, but the biggest question is always around nutrition. And I understand why, because nutrition is really 80% of the game. If you don't eat right, you're not going to see anything moving the scale, whether, like I said, whether or not that is lean muscle mass, whether that is losing weight. You're not going to see any progress unless you're eating for the goal, because the body is going to do what, or it's going to respond based on what you feed it. So if you are feeding it crap, you're going to feel like crap. If you are giving it processed foods, you're going to feel like crap. If you are cooking in a bunch of greases and a bunch of fatty oils, you are going to feel like crap. And your body is going to show you in different ways that you are not eating properly, right? So what is the proper way to eat, right? The proper way to eat is by feeding your body 3 macronutrients. That's protein, that's carbohydrates, and that's fats. Now, this is not just any thing you want to put off the shelf for proteins, carbs, and fats. It has to be lean protein, has to be complex carbs, and it has to be healthy fats. So, what is considered a lean protein? You have your chicken, but it has to be certain parts of the chicken. Not all parts of the chicken is considered lean, right? Your darker meats are going to have fat on them, so they're not considered lean. But I mean, hey, if you have to start somewhere, I would say start with that. If you can't get away from the chicken thigh, or you can't get away from the drumstick, that's better than you going out here eating chicken nuggets, right? From wherever. Don't want to say any names, but we know what that's about, right? But your more leaner portions of the chicken is going to be like your chicken breast, and basically your chicken tenderloin. So those 2 parts of the chicken. So any white part of the chicken, I know we consider those a drier portion, but if you learn how to cook them properly, maybe put them on the grill, maybe put them on a griddle, maybe air fry them, they'll be more juicier for you, right? Then you have your fish, your white fish, like your flounder, your tilapia, your cod, just all sorts of white fish. They are very high protein, and they have no fat and no carbohydrates. So if you're really looking to lose weight and shred fast, white fish is going to be your go-to, protein. And also your turkey. I know a lot of people don't like turkey. They say it's dry, just like the chicken breast. But if you learn how to cook it right, if you learn how to cook it with the right, seasonings, if you learn how to just get it off the stove right before it's about to get dry, I promise you it's good. It's one of my favorite meals to eat, actually. It's like one of my go-to meals when I know that maybe I have to eat in the car. I know I can take and put me a cup of ground turkey and some rice in there, mix it up, and have me a good, healthy meal. So let's go to the carbs. So carbs are one of those things. It's one of those things because carbs are very good. I love carbs. I'm not even going to lie to you guys. And it's our biggest energy source as well. So no wonder our body wants to consume, right? But it's one of those things where too much of a good thing can be just devastating to your goal. If you're eating too much carbs, you could keep yourself from seeing that scale move every week. You could see yourself, bloating a lot. You can, and if you're not having enough carbohydrates, you could potentially not have enough fuel just to get throughout the day if you're not eating the right carbohydrates. If you're not eating your red potatoes, if you're not eating your sweet potatoes, if you're not eating certain rices that are not jam-packed full of carbohydrates, um, you definitely will feel it in your energy sources. Um, you need to be eating carbohydrates, but you need to be eating them to a certain extent. Now, what I mean by that is eating what your body needs. A lot of times we are just scarfing down carbohydrates because they are good. I promise you, I know they're good. That's one of the things that I struggle with, but it's one of the things that I've learned to get under control. And it's all mental. It's because your mind knows that they're good. Your mind knows that it's going to be energy after energy after energy. Like, we're going to feel better once we intake those carbohydrates. But what you should be doing is portioning out your carbohydrate intake throughout the day, right? You should be aiming for, I would say, between 40 grams and 85 grams of carbohydrates, but that's based on each meal. That's based on what your goal is, though. Shoot, that could go anywhere up to 100 grams to 200 grams if you're trying to bulk up, if you're trying to put on some muscle mass. I mean, that number is different for everyone. So that's not like a generic number. That is something that you would have to calculate based on what you need for your body. And like I said, for what your goal is. And then you have your healthy fats. Your healthy fats are going to be like your nuts. It's going to be like your olive oils. It's going to be your salmons. It's going to be, what else is some healthy fats? Shoot. I mean, even lean turkey is considered healthy fat because it has some fats in there, right? And then you have things like your yogurts that have, that are a protein source, but they also have a source of fat in it as well, but they are healthy fat, right? So what makes these foods healthy, in a sense, right? It's because they belong to what we call whole foods, right? They are satiating to the body, and they are not processed, right? They are consumed as they are. So they're not taken to a factory. They're not pumped with a bunch of additives and stored in a box for shelf life, right? These are things that you have to cook and consume immediately, right? Or what's going to happen is they're going to go bad. So things that are not good for you, like the processed foods, can sit on the shelf for a very extended period of time because they're just jam-packed, like I said, with additives that make the shelf life longer. So whatever you're doing, you want to make sure that you are going for whole foods. So this plate right here is what I like to call a balanced plate, right? Only thing missing on here is some fats, but I already had my fats for the day. I have my carbohydrate sources and I have my lean protein sources. So this would be more so for me like a meal that I'm going to have pre-workout. And I'll explain why. Because I have the energy sources here to get through a workout. I have my chicken tenderloins. That is my protein source, right? But it's also a good energy source. Because once my body runs out of carbohydrates, which is my rice here, my jasmine rice, and my collards, bet you guys didn't know that vegetables are considered carbs. You gotta pay attention to intaking of your vegetables. Even though they're low in calories, they can be high in carbohydrates. So please, please, please make sure that you're reading those nutrition labels when you are consuming your vegetables as well. But like I was saying, once I go from eating my protein, I'm going to go into my carbohydrates. When my body utilizes my carbohydrates when I'm in the middle of a workout, it's going to immediately go to my protein, right? So this is my secondary energy source. My carbohydrates are my primary energy source, and then my protein is going to be my my secondary energy source. The one that's missing off of this place is healthy fats. That is also a big energy source that your body pulls from when you are doing cardio, right? When you're doing your slow, steady state cardio, which I like to call it, or what we like to call it, coaches like to call it, is like you're walking. You know, it is very low intensity, but what's happening is your body is pulling from its fat stores when you are doing that slow state cardio. So when I'm doing my weight bearing exercises, I'm going for more of the protein, carbohydrates to fuel me through that workout. When I'm going for my, my cardio to fuel that, if you need to fuel that. I mean, a lot of people like to say, you can do your cardio fasted, so that way it's going to pull from the fat stores that you already have, right? But if you're a beginner and you feel like you can't really do anything fasted, especially cardio, because cardio can be one of those things that you have to get used to if you're not used to exerting a bunch of energy, right? Or even walking for that matter, especially if you're severely obese, it might take you a while to get up to the point where you can do anything fasted, because the heart is going to start racing, it's going to start pumping, your lungs are going to start inflating, they're going to start working faster, right? So if you are not used to working out fasted, I would highly suggest that, you fuel your body before you start working out. And if eating meals like this, it's just hard for you just because you're not even an eater. Some people just have the, how can I put this? The challenge of just not wanting to eat. And I know that might be hard for some people to realize, but if you think about it, if you're always eating a bunch of processed foods, a bunch of restaurant cooked foods, a lot of times you're probably only eating 1 to 2 meals a day. You're not eating the 4 to 6 small meals a day, which is going to turn your metabolism on, right? But if you're not eating those meals, try to drink your calories, right? But when you drink your calories, you want that source to be just as nutrient dense as a meal would be. So that's when my meal replacement shakes come into play. And this is why I am an ambassador and a distributor of Herbalife. Herbalife is just one of those products that you're wowed by. It's not filled with a bunch of additives. It's not filled with a bunch of just junk that you don't even know what you're putting in your body. It's not one of those things where you can sit it on the shelf for years and years and years and it's still good. These go bad because the ingredients in them are pure. These shakes are made by scientists and nutritionists so that you are getting 21 vitamins, minerals in this 250 calorie shake. So this is equivalent to eating a 2,500 calorie meal in this one little shake. So this is something that you can utilize to make sure that you're at least getting some form of those vitamins and minerals that your body needs from food. Because let's face it, if you're not giving your body what it needs as far as fueling, you're just living a very unhealthy life. And health is not always aesthetics. It's what you're consuming. It's what you're fueling your body with. If you're not eating whole foods that's going to give you the vitamins and nutrients and things that your body needs to work properly, for you to have the energy that you need to get throughout the day, for your body to stay lean, for you not to have a bunch of visceral fat around your organs, around your stomach, then you are doing yourself a disservice. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I run into women just telling me that they don't eat enough because they're so stressed or they're always on the go. And I totally understand, but those women also are severely overweight. Their BMI is on the obese or the severely obese just because they're not eating enough. And we have to do a better job of making sure we're getting whole foods in our system. And if you can't eat, please make sure that you're getting something that is equivalent to it so that your body is getting fueled properly. Because without proper nutrition, you are just asking for chronic illnesses, chronic diseases. You are asking to be put on medications at some form in your life. And we want to be more proactive than reactive when it comes to this. It's so often we see our elderlies and our families going through these things, and it's just like, well, I don't want that to be me. But what are you doing to combat that? If you're not going to work out, at least eat right 80% of the time. You know, leave the cheat meal for one day in the middle of the week and one day on the weekend, if you must. Or limit it to one day on the weekend as a prize to yourself for doing so good throughout the week. But you have to start somewhere. And I say start with your nutrition. And then after that, you can start incorporating exercise, you know, or you can incorporate them together. But if you incorporate them together, make sure that you're taking it one step at a time. Like I say, please do not give yourself this lofty goal of, I'm going to work out 5 times a week. I'm going to just throw all my junk food out. Take it one step at a time. One step at a time. Because I promise you, if you do it too fast, if you go into this with this big lofty goal, with this mindset of just everything is going to happen for me overnight, you're going to fail. It's all a process. No one's perfect. No one's a machine. But you do have to establish the mindset that it's going to be 1 second at a time, 1 minute at a time, 1 hour at a time, 1 month at a time. And those will add up to months and years of progress, and you're going to see a different person. You just got to stay consistent. You just have to trust the process, and you have to make sure that nutrition is one of your priorities.